Yo, how's it going? I hope you're doing just as good as I'm doing today. And I'm beat. We literally rested yesterday and I am already pretty damn tired. But in a good way. We're still getting used to doing abs and cardio every day. And I up the speed on the treadmill, which in the long run will be a good thing. But, if your calves are going to fucking hurt. Physically, I'm going to give it a really solid 7.95. I don't think it's just, you know what? Nah, 8.1. Why not? I think it was there, and the main reason I'm going to give it to myself this time, I normally like to shoot lower than how I think I feel, because, mental can take a lot of it. But even though I was really tired today, the clean and jerks, the front squats, the clean pulls, everything felt really in tune and really good. I don't think I was messing up a lot when it comes to the reps and the form. Everything felt really together, and I moved pretty damn fast today. It was kind of surprising how quickly I got through my clean and jerks, especially. I think it was 20 minutes, and I'd gone through the 4 sets, and I was like, shit, I normally spend that long talking to people. So it was good to see, the rest of the day has been helping. I think the cardio and the abs have been conditioning my body a little bit better just to recover at a more efficient rate, which is awesome. But, on top of everything mentally, 8.25, just above. Not too much. I don't think it was crazy higher. I think everything was just kind of working today. I didn't feel too crazy, hyped up. I didn't feel out of tune though, so everything was there. I was able to commit to everything. That first set, especially on a paused clean and jerk week when I'm doing maximum volume, yeah, you get a little nervous for that first set. But I think I went at everything pretty well, no matter how tired my body was. And on top of that, I had a pretty long conversation before the gym. I don't know if anybody's been there, but I was on a phone call with my girlfriend before getting to the gym, and we literally ended up talking for an hour and 15 minutes. It was abysmal how long it was, but I want to talk about why it is a good thing that it happened the way it did. Even if, everybody in the outside world who doesn't know what's happening is just going to see you and think oh, he's got a crazy girlfriend, he's on the phone for an hour, he's not doing well in the relationship, especially when you're at the gym, and it's no. I think it's super important to discuss why you need to communicate in the moment of the most traumatic or traumatizing things in your life. Of course, this comes with time. I'm not saying that if you're a kid going through your first trauma in your life that you need to just get the fuck over it and start talking to people. Of course not. It is a learning experience. I've been going through shit for 21 years now, long and running, and there's been a lot of it. And so, I feel like I'm kind of an expert at this point at getting my shit together as fast as possible. But, just slight context, I don't want to get too personal, but of course, I don't have relationship issues. We're chilling. It's just a matter of you need, even if it seems like such a small miscommunication, no matter what's happening, letting that free fall in the air. I compare this a lot with small negatives in your life. People will go through their daily lives experiencing the same small negative things every day and say, it is what it is. I hate it when people say it is what it is, but don't actually take care of what is hurting them, and pretending like it's supposed to be normal to feel hurt. And so similarly, you let that bad mojo float in the air in any relationship, not just boyfriend, girlfriend, anybody that you interact with, this can happen to, believe it or not. And over however many hours, days, weeks, months, years, it can get to years, it builds up every single day that you do not talk about it. It is why talking to someone, especially someone unbiased, is so important in that moment, because the longer you wait, it's I like to compare it to Olympic weightlifting a little bit. Just, again, I analyze everything with the gym just because I've been doing it for so long. I'm so passionate about it. But, this can be any lifting, but just in my experience with Olympic lifting, any time that you take off from that sport you will most likely spend twice as long trying to get back to where you were. Now, I think that this coincides a lot with your mental health or whatever negative stigma you are experiencing. Every single day that you take to just say it is what it is and push that shit aside and not talk about it in that moment, it's going to take twice as long when you start talking to people about it and actually accepting how you feel to even get over it. You know, this is why I feel that I've gotten really good at being able to accept my circumstances, whatever is thrown at me in life, and just move on really quickly. It's not an it is what it is moment. It's I accept what's happening to me. It is okay. I will be fine. There are more important things to worry about. So let's communicate why we feel these ways and take the step forward to, instead of blaming and putting up defensive walls between one another, because that's the normal, rational human way or irrational human way of doing things, because you just naturally don't want to be wrong. You just talk about what you want to do to be a better person and communicate better, exist better. So, you know, there's just literally the slightest negative stigma on this phone call. And I was like, I'm not going to lie, got in my feels, you know? Even though I've been through so much of it, I will still put up my walls. It is the first instinct reaction that every human has when you get blamed for something. Not that it was a super direct or harmful negative thing. I just felt like I was being thrown at the curb for a second. And I was like, well, hold on. No, this is happening this way. And I was like, the moment I said that, I was like, shit, I just put my wall up, switched the blame so that I wouldn't have to feel bad about it. And now the other person feels twice as worse. And we both don't know what is happening because it's an irrational response. You know, not saying that you're crazy or feeling this way, but it's one of those things that's just like fully emotional and illogical. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's where your brain's going to go more times than not. And so when that happens, you got to be able to step back. Literally 2 minutes after I said it, let her get her shit out. And I was like, all right, pause. I'm sorry, first of all. Not taking the blame, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry for putting my walls up. I got defensive when I felt like I was being blamed, when you were probably just trying to explain how you felt. So why not we both take a step back? No matter who is right or wrong, does not matter. And let's think about how we can talk about it. And we literally spent an hour and 15 minutes outside the gym going back and forth about like how we felt, where we could go to fix it. Not even fix, just it's all about compromise and becoming closer and closer to being able to match what each other want. Because again, you've got to prioritize your own happiness in life. But if you want people to coincide with you and exist with you and love you, you're going to have to compromise and put your own personal bullshit aside for a second. So the main reason I bring this up, other than it being on today's fucking daily topic for what's in Jake's brain, it's overlooked so many times how each individual truly feels. Because these initial emotional reactions that prompt each other to choose to go in the direction of who's right and wrong and who to blame and who to defend against, rather than we love each other, why don't we just talk neutrally? And, you know, we can say, oh, well, you made me feel like I was blamed. That's fine. But you can't get accusatory and just go, you did this. You're not that person's brain. Like, the person you're arguing with, you are not them. So how the fuck do you know how they feel? And sorry to say it sucks, but you never will. You can always, again, it's compromise. It's getting closer and closer to one another so that you can understand each other and adapt to each other better. But no matter how many times me and my girlfriend talk about these things, we get better in the real world, in the physical world, about interacting with each other to get better. And hopefully can get that slight bit of better emotional connection with one another. But when it comes to what actually initially the origin of whatever emotions come out right there, that's all in her brain, and what came out of my brain is all in my brain. I can spew out what I can spew to explain why I felt that way and try to get to the bottom of it and really understand it, but the brain is so random. Like, we don't know shit about the brain, even in today's modern technology, and it makes sense that you just can't know exactly where that initial blurt of an emotion came out. You know, it was the instinct, that one part of your little lobe in your brain fired off and was like, say that shit right now. You're angry, go for it. And then the other parts of your brain that are trying to process the information just aren't as fast as those parts most of the time. But what's so important, other than realizing this and, talking about your bullshit to make sure that you're not cutting at each other's throats every day for the next couple weeks until you inevitably crack and say it doesn't matter, is how detrimental this can be to your actual long-term livelihood. When you're thinking about friends, girlfriends, whatever, it doesn't seem like that big a deal. Whatever, we get mad at each other. People fight. It's normal. Cool. Fighting can be normal. Sure. Like I said, we are instinctually emotional and illogical at heart when it comes to the first reaction we spew out. But what I don't like being normal as it sadly is how incapable most people are to adapting to one another and putting away your personal bias in order to truly figure out why you are why you're butting heads instead of focusing on the love and life that you live together. So, at least in my experience, the most extreme case of this was, I've talked a little bit about my dad, just off and on, not a lot, but we've been through our shit. It sucks. I'm living my life, he's living his life. That's how it is. When two people decide not to change, like I said, no matter what wrongs he did or what wrongs I did, nobody is right or wrong. It's like if you've seen Vinland Saga, you got no enemies. Doesn't matter who's right or wrong. It really doesn't. It's just a matter of, if you are both unwilling to change, even if you think you are right or you are right, doesn't matter. You got to move on with your life and they got to move on with their life. And so I was living under his shadow for what I want to say was solid 5 straight years. And when I said it can take years, there are worse cases. Trust me, it sucks. Because when you grow up into that kind of shit as a kid, a lot of it becomes learned behavior. And I feel like my dad, even today, still has some of those feelings. It's not figured out. And he's in his 50s. And it's like, fuck. It scares you thinking like, man, if he didn't figure it out, I got to make sure I do. That's why we learn from our parents. Mine case is a bit extreme. But the little things that your parents fuck up, you see that shit when you're growing up. It's not bad parenting. They're just human. So you just be like, oh, that sucks. I'm going to do better. And every generation we improve. But what was the worst part about it that I wasn't able to realize until really getting close to adulthood was that the longer I decided to accept it and just give it it is what it is treatment, the longer it took to get myself out and recover. Because people don't realize it's not just your situation flips and then you recover, and then that takes twice as long. Like I said before, you got to add in the additional time that it actually takes you to figure out how to get out, especially when it's family. It's not saying that I'm cutting anybody off, but I had to get out in my own way. And so constantly going back and forth, telling him what he wanted to hear, just prolonged the negative stigma between us. What's sad is that you only have yourself to blame when that situation happens. You choose to live underneath those negative people because you choose to accept it and say it is what it is because you don't want to make any excess drama for other people. And that's horse shit. Don't care how close you are to them. You gotta do what's right for you. You won't be able to live otherwise. It won't be your life. It'll be an obligational life living under another person that you think is better than you. To wrap it all together, I don't mean to tangent on too much about my personal life. I don't want anybody to watch this and think he's got issues, he's got relationship issues, he's got familial issues. That's not what's important. I mean it when I say right and wrong is completely unimportant. And once you accept that, you'll be able to sit back and really look at it and be like, shit, I could have moved on long ago. But even though they're the ones producing that negative stigma, I am the one who chose to stick back and be dragged down by those around me. As close as you may think you are to a person and stuck to a person you live your life as a unique individual. You are never stuck to another person unless you are literally biologically by DNA completely 100% the same, which is not possible. And even then, if you're a human, the cognitive brain's a crazy thing. You're going to grow up differently and get mindsets in different areas. So take it with a grain of salt, go at your own pace. Don't rush through it and hear this and think, I got to cut out people in my life right now. If that's what you need, decide that for yourself. But listen to these experiences, not just by me, but other people around you, especially people that you respect, that have gone through that bullshit. Open up about how you feel. And the more and more you talk to people who will actually support you and understand your side, and even more have experience in that similar area, the more and more you're going to stop thinking you're crazy for wanting to go against these people. And the more and more you're going to become passionate about bettering yourself just for the sake of bettering yourself. That's all life is. I told so many people that you live life at the all you need to do to live happily in life is do what is necessary. Now, this may seem like, you got to do your 100% every day type of shit. No, I'm not a David Goggins type guy. I train and stay consistent, but I'm not out here killing myself doing all these crazy things in life because I feel like I'm going to be left behind. I'm at my own pace. And I did what I thought was necessary for me to be happy today. And so if I go to bed smiling, I know I did it right. And so if you're going to bed tonight and you are not smiling about what you're doing with your life, that's where the change comes from. That's where the start comes from, relationship or not. That's where you need to think about what you're doing and where changes might improve you as a person, not for the sake of stereotype, hierarchy, financial shit, just you. You are all that matter in this life. And once you prioritize yourself, you will be able to live life pretty carefree, no matter how shit your circumstance may seem. I don't want to go on too long, so I appreciate it if you stuck around. As always, back to the cut, chicken, rice, broccoli. Why not? New sauce, different meal. But we're loving it at the moment. And the best thing you can do right now is take that first step into how to love what you're doing just a little bit more. Even if you think you're the happiest person in the world, why not take that little bit of extra step? There's no such thing as too many goals. There's only so much thing as too many obligations. So, do what you will with that. Have fun. That's all I got. See you tomorrow.